Good morning, fellow shippers. Today is September 21st, Sunday, and this is our 10 a.m. service here at Fellowship of Spirit. And here at Fellowship of Spirit, I'm going to remind you at least that you are a magnificent, unique, and radiant aspect of the divine. I'm welcoming all of our guests. Today we have Dawn with us, who's going to give our talk. See, we got Dawn and Neva on the airwaves there, so welcome you guys. And we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us here in the sanctuary. So we're all ready to go. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat that our mission here at Fellowship of Spirit is to positively affect the world by extending peace, love, spirituality, understanding, and friendship to all people with grace and gratitude. Our vision, and that's to support our vision, which is to be a spiritual center of awakening, the I Am Christ consciousness. And with all of you helping and watching and observing, that is what we are becoming day by day. Membership is open to anyone, doesn't matter which side of the railroad track you're from or which religion you were in before or if you had none at all. We would love to have you here because we are not a religion, we are a spiritual fellowship. And we love being associated with each other. And you all out there too. Today, Margaret Cheesebro is doing our music. And she's going to lead off with Prelude, My Tribute by Andre Crouch. All right, Margaret. Thank you, Margaret. And I'm pleased to share with you all that Kate and I have been practicing a little bit with Margaret, and we're looking forward to singing to her accompaniment sometime soon. And we have a magnificent, what is the name of the song? Great is the Lord is the one that we're working on right now. So I'm going to give us an opening prayer. And this is actually lesson 264 from the student workbook in A Course in Miracles. And it just seemed perfect. It starts out in the form of a prayer. Father, you stand before me and behind and beside me in the place I see myself and everywhere I go. You are in all things I look upon, the sounds I hear, and every hand that reaches for my own. In you, time disappears, and place becomes a meaningless belief. For what surrounds your Son and keeps him safe is love itself. There is no source but this, and nothing is that does not share its holiness, that stands beyond your one creation, or without the love which holds all things within itself. Father, your Son is like yourself. We come to you in your own name today, to be at peace within your everlasting love. My brothers, join with me in this today. This is salvation's prayer. Must we not join in what we will save the world along with us? Thank you. Okay, our next song from Margaret is in the book. It's number 156.
I shall not fear the terrors that confound me, vanish at length like mist before the sun, knowing his arm is evermore around me. What need I fear? What perils need I shun? I shall not fail, nor shall my task appall me, though it may seem too heavy for my hands. I know not that he who to the task did call me will give me strength to meet the task demands. I shall not want. How could that thought assail me? I know his wealth is infinite indeed. How could I think his love would ever fail me, or dream his bounty would not meet my need? I shall not fail, nor shall my task appall me, though it may seem too heavy for my hands. I know that he to the task did call me will give me strength to meet the task demands.
Thank you, Margaret. That brings us to our reflection moment, written by Midge Jones and practiced by us ever since. And it goes, love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay, and we're going to take a little time here and send our thoughts out to, we've been sending them out to George Harris, and so he's included also, but now Ron Holloway is falling a little short of what he wanted to have happen, and he's having some difficulties. So we want him back here with us. Let's put him in our prayers, and we will, let's do Om. Boy, that's from way back when, huh? You ready? Thank you. And now, the lovely Kate Ryan is going to give us our spiritual message. Yeah, come around this way, baby.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And we have a reading from today's lesson or the day's devotion out of the Science of Mind devotional. Go to the center of your inner being and radiate peace in every direction. Our wings are small, but the ripples of the heart are infinite. That's by Amit Ray. In this love, I embrace the world and affirm that peace shall come on earth and goodwill exist among people everywhere. And that's by Ernest Holmes. We are here together in this moment in history to create a more just, compassionate, and peaceful world. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the need, immobilized by the scope. But remember, none of us is responsible for holding it all. Our small contribution can make a difference in the part of the world within our reach. Today at noon, local time, people around the world will observe a minute of silence in honor of the International Day of Peace. This quiet moment offers us a chance to contemplate our personal contribution to a more peaceful world. Peace on earth begins with peace in your heart. Use your daily spiritual practice to nourish your soul and locate the coordinates of the calm center within. From your calm center, use the power of prayer to send radiant light of the planet and to all suffering beings. From your calm center, use the power of your words to uplift and empower, to build up and bring together. From your calm center, use the power of your actions to show up, volunteer, donate, organize, join a cause. Love, prayer, and compassionate action are not the stuff of spiritual lightweights, but the greatest, most powerful forces in the universe. Our united message of oneness can become a massive beacon of divine light. We are together now for just this reason. Let's light the way, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, lantern. My goodness. Lantern to lantern, here we stand, souls on deck, illuminating the path of one love, one light, one peace. And so it is.
Boy. Over the top emotion was free of charge there, believe me. Okay, and you took my no, wait, here it is. Now we have a song, I Am Remembering. It's from the binder.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering
Thank you, Margaret. That's what we're here. We're remembering who we are. And speaking of it was just on the tip of my tongue, of Ernest Holmes. We started a book by Ernest Holmes called You Can Talk to God this morning. And I am really, I've been reading a lot of Ernest Holmes throughout the years, but all of a sudden I'm struck with the craftsmanship that this gentleman put words together and how he could uniquely do it. And so we're really looking forward to continuing on with this book. And I think everybody really likes it. So my next task is to introduce Don Cummins. He's going to give us our talk on winning the lotto, was it? Yeah. Well, okay, here's about Don. In 2011, while homeless, addicted, alone, and carrying the weight of having served over 20 years in prison for bank robberies, amongst us here, Don had a spiritual awakening that was the beginning of a miraculous life transformation. In the 13 years that followed, Don became a husband and father, a corporate software IT director, author, inspirational speaker, and a mentor/coach. Today, Don's passion is helping others see what he saw that day in 2011. Don lives in Durango with his wife, Brianna, and his boys, Levi and Finn. So, Don also brought some of his books to the fellowship today, and we have them now in our library, and I can't wait to read my copy. So here I'm going to introduce Don. Come on up, Don. You can do this however you want.
Thank you. Okay. Just kind of.
Oh, and this is Don's book, The Prison Within. My copy.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Don.
So I was wondering, with a title like "Are You Ready to Win the Lotto?" we might have 100 people in here. I was wondering, but this is perfect. So not long ago, I was on my way to go do some mountain bike riding, which you know that I love to do. And I had to stop at a convenience store to grab some Gatorade. They were selling 2 for 1, and I knew I was going to need it. And so I stopped by there, and as I was waiting for the register, there was someone ahead of me, and they were buying lotto tickets. And I don't know about you, but it's been my experience that when there's someone buying lotto tickets, it takes a little while. I don't know why. That transaction just, it goes through a few changes. And so as I sat there, I took a breath, and I thought, man, I hope that person wins. I hope that they win the lotto. You know, what a blessing that would be. You know, and I sat there for a moment, and then I thought, well, I don't know. You know, I've read a lot of stories, and I've seen, news articles in the past about people who have won the lotto, and they wind up in the poorhouse. Things are much worse than they were when they bought that winning lotto ticket, for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's they don't know how to manage money, or maybe they thought that they were going to make an attempt at investing, and so they bought businesses, and they didn't know how to run those businesses. They didn't know how to ask the right questions or rely on other people to, or maybe they relied on the wrong people. Maybe there's a variety of reasons, especially if they had vices or some bad habits. Money is not too big of a help when you're suddenly able to do almost anything you want. And so, but the bottom line is that the lotto did not wreck them. It was the fact that they were not prepared. They were not ready for the blessing that was coming to their life, And, each one of us, I know, would love to win the lotto, whether that means that we want to win the literal lotto and win Powerball or something like that, or maybe for some of us, the blessing that we look forward to is great relationships. Maybe we haven't been that great at relationships in our life, and we see ourselves smiling and happy and talking to other people. And maybe it means having a business. We've got this idea, and we would love to bring that out into the world, and that would be like winning the lotto to us, you know. Maybe it's the freedom, the financial freedom, or just having the ability to travel and to go to places that you've always seen in magazines or whatever, like Japan, for example. Jerry went to Japan not long ago. You know, there's a bunch of things that we would like to do and would like to see in our lives happen, and they might be goals that we're actively working toward, or they might be just things that we would like to see happen. And, you know, I know that there's a lot of us, you know, a lot of people in general that are suffering because they've been working toward their goals. They've been praying about it. They've been talking to God. They've been trying to get aligned with Spirit, and it doesn't seem like that blessing is coming their way. They don't see it. You know, maybe some of us in here, you know, maybe you know, we've been waiting and waiting for an opportunity to show up in our lives, and we've been affirming it. You know, maybe, you know, we've had the thought, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe this is not God's will for my life. Maybe I didn't get the formula right. Maybe when I'm doing my affirmations, I'm not saying it just the right way, or I'm not envisioning with enough specificity that image that I want to see my life like, and I'm not able to hook into Spirit and make things happen in the way that I think that they should, you know. And, you know, I know what that feels like, you know, to wonder, when is it going to happen? You know, I've been doing the right things. I've been good for a while now. Why is this not happening? You know, and, you know, I wanted just to offer a few words of encouragement in that situation. And you know, that Spirit never tells us no, but Spirit will have us go through a process to get prepared. And so there's never a no. It's just that we're being prepared for the blessings that are coming our way. I mentioned that my son Levi has a birthday party today, and he's turning 11. And he joked with me the other day and said, "Dad, I think I'm getting a little older now, and I'm more responsible. Can I borrow the car keys?" You know, and I was like, it was like this chill went right through my spine. I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, I knew he was kidding, but the thought of my 11-year-old driving is just crazy. I can't really wrap my brain around that. And I'm grateful that there's a process, you know, that they don't allow 11-year-olds to drive, and that the law is set up to where there's some level of maturity before they can even apply for it. And then there's a process to get approved to actually do the driving. You know, so I know that Spirit, God, is the same toward us, you know. I know that Spirit wants us to succeed. And that as we were talking this morning, which kind of covered about, a good 20% of what I was going to say, is that we have within us a desire to create, to co-create, to bring forth, you know, the dreams and the goals and the things that are on our heart to bring into reality. And it's not a bad thing, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to want to bring forth from the goodness within that we're inherently connected with, and to make that happen, to bless ourselves and to bless other people. And, but we just might not be ready for it in the way that we see it, you know. Some of the greatest spiritual traditions teach that. You know, we have, for example, Moses. Okay, Moses had to go into the wilderness for 40 years to get prepared to learn how to lead other people, even though he was brought up in the royal family of Egypt and knew about the secrets, the esoteric wisdom, the teachings of ancient Egypt. He probably had a lot of unlearning to do in order to learn the heart knowledge of how to lead people and to have compassion for them. He had to go through a process. There's Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. You know, he was a skilled warrior, and he was confronted with the fact that he was going to have to go to war with his cousins, you know, with his relatives. And he didn't know what to do with that, and he was conflicted. and he had doubt about what is the right thing to do, and how do I just can't do this, And that resulted in him having a dialogue with Krishna for who knows what the time of that was. It could have been 5 minutes, it could have been a year, who knows, 20 years. Whatever that waiting period is he learned to be the karma yoga, to do the right thing for the right reason and not be so concerned about the results. And that was the lesson internally that he needed to learn. And then there's Buddha under the Bodhi tree. He was on his way to enlightenment and realizing the truth that he ultimately shared with all of us, but it wasn't until he had to interact with Mara, the Lord of Desire, for him to realize that the root of all suffering is caused by desire on some level, and to be able to learn that truth. For us, there are so many lessons that we need to learn internally before we're able to handle the blessings that are coming into our life, and to be able to be a good steward of those things that are headed our way, that are certainly headed our way. And sometimes it's not only internal things that we need to learn, the lessons inside. It's something that we need to learn and do. We need to take action on. One thing that's was always difficult for me is talking to other people. And at some point I realized that I'm going to have to learn how to interact with people. I've always been isolated, and I wouldn't let anybody in unless, I got to know them really well and I felt super comfortable, And but to get anywhere in life, you have to be able to talk to people, to be able to look them in the eye and say, "Hi, how are you doing?" and be interested in their life and what's going on. And so I had a suggestion from a mentor to, every time I stepped onto an elevator, to look a person in the eye and say, "Good morning, how are you doing?" Even though inside I would be trembling, And when I got out back in the day, I would go grocery shopping, and I would be paralyzed by fear because I felt like I wasn't one of these people. I'm not really a part of the growth of the shopping community. I'm different somehow, Despite the fact that I was right there with them, picking up peanut butter and jelly and milk or whatever it was, and going through the checkout line. For some of us, that might mean that if we have, we need to start now. Whatever it is, we're not waiting for it to come to us. We need to start now, taking action. And that might mean reaching out to other people. That might mean starting a business. I know a guy in Florida who was an excellent business person, and he knew the principles of business and how to invest, and he knew money and how to deal with that. And he saw the need for in this particular neighborhood up in northern Pinellas County, a need for a landscaping business of all things. He just saw the niche, the need for that, the demographics and what needed to be done, but he had never been part of a lawn mowing crew. And so what he did is he went and he joined a lawn mowing crew, and he was pushing a lawnmower, and he spent about a month doing that. And then he was much better informed about how to put together a crew that would go out and do that. And ultimately, he flipped that business, and went on to the next thing, because that's just what he liked to do. But he understood that he needed to go through some real life application. And the best way to learn how to do that is by just going ahead and doing it, So there's that. When we're feeling down, and we don't see things playing out the way we want them to see, one thing to remember is that it's not all about us. That one way that we're being prepared is simply by I've said that wrong. Sometimes it's not only us that's being prepared. A river doesn't drink its own water. We receive the things we receive in life to be a blessing to others. And sometimes we're good and we've learned our lessons, but other people are being set up to receive what it is that we have to offer. And so we're waiting not only for ourselves to be prepared, but other people to be prepared as well. So there's another kind of situation too I wanted to talk about, and that is, the goals and the dreams that we have, oftentimes they're for ourselves, primarily. We want to bless others. But then there's that proverb, or there's a saying that talks about, how how selfless it is and how good it is when someone will plant a tree knowing that they will not enjoy the shade themselves. We've heard of that one before. And I can relate to that. For me, hitting the lotto in some ways would be knowing that people I love and care about are going to be okay. That they're going to be all right no matter what, in my presence or in my absence. And I remember the last time I ever saw my grandmother. And my grandmother, she came to see me in prison, and you probably read about this. And so she was sitting across from me, and she reached out and she grabbed my hand and she said, after we'd been talking a little while, and she said, "Donnie," because that's what she called me, she said that I know that one day you are going to stand before crowds and tell people what Jesus did for you. And inside I was like, okay, and, a couple moments later, her eyes got droopy, and she had a stroke right in front of me, and the ambulance came and got her and took her away, and that was the last time I saw my grandmother. But what she said came from a place of having always constantly worried about me and loving me deeply. And she had reached a point, she was a prayer warrior. She should be on the group of 8, I think, Margaret. And she was a prayer warrior, so to speak, and she spent a lot of time in prayer and meditation. And she reached a point where she knew I was going to be okay, and she communicated that to me before she left. And I feel the same way about people in my life, and I know all of us do. And the thing that I learned from her and that I try to apply in my own life is that inner journey of prayer, of meditating, of talking to God that we read about this morning. That part of the creative ability that we have and these power of our intention and the power of our words is that although we may not be able to control what another person decides to do in their life, we might not be able to control the path that they take. I believe that we have within us, with the love that has been placed in us, the ability to have some type of miracle in the lives of other people that's the equivalent of hitting the lotto. And she knew that she had gotten to that place with me, and so she was able to express that. And so for some of us, winning the lotto, having that blessing, is not just about our own journey, not about our own goals, and not about our own accomplishments. It's about the well-being of other people that we care deeply about. And so I just wanted to talk about those items today and encourage any of us who are concerned for someone we care about or just a little down, because these are hard times on some levels, and there's things that we want to happen in our lives, and we know it's right. We know God has given this to us, and it's time to be patient and to wait and to keep moving forward, knowing that the blessing is coming, and just to be patient and to have faith and to focus on what we can do in the meantime to be prepared and ready for that. And so that kind of turned out kind of short, but that's short and sweet. That's my message today, and I thank you for having me here.
Better ask some questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there questions?
So Don, have you hit the spiritual lotto yet?
Well, I guess that it depends how. Yes and no. I feel like I've seen some things and internalized some things that have delivered me from a whole huge mess into some good things in my life. And there's more to come, though. I haven't arrived in that sense. And so
keep buying your tickets?
What's that?
You keep buying your tickets?
I'm still buying those lotto tickets. I'm still investing in them. Not the ones up at the store, though, but
Right.
Well, I think that the one you invested in with your grandmother seated across from you has paid off already.
Yeah.
Because look where you are now.
Yep. That's right.
Don, this is definitely a guy with a mission. And I think that is a lot of winning right there.
Agreed.
Does anybody else have a question? Tell us a little bit about your upcoming event, how it's forming.
Well, so at the TOTA on January 15th, 2026, there's going to be an event, and the actual name of the event, I'm not 100%. We're still working on that. It'll be something that will fit in the marquee nicely and kind of say what it's all about. Kind of going around with that, but I'm talking to other people that will help me put on the event and produce it. Some video teams down there. And the event is basically an outreach. It's a free event for people who are either need recovery, addiction, sobriety, but not limited to that. There's all kinds of pain points, there's hurts, there's people that just are just weighed down with the weight of life. You know, they don't have a spiritual path, or maybe they did, but they need to be reminded. And this event is all about just sharing my own story of overcoming and tying that in with, the universal theme of how we need God. We need spirit in our lives. We need to be connected to that deep voice within us that we were reading about today, to have a newness of life and to be at peace with ourselves and to realize what we have to offer and not just what we need to get. You know, often when we're in a pain point, we can only think of what we need. We're only thinking of ourselves, and that can be consuming and just a seek to fulfill something, a hole that cannot be fulfilled. And we're filling it with the wrong thing. And I'm hoping to communicate to people that are in that spot the very thing that can fill that hole and help them flourish and enjoy the life that they have a divine right to. And so.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward.
15th, Thursday. The doors will open at 6:15. The event itself will start at 7, and that's when they will announce some raffle winners, and there'll be an announcer and some announcements, and then I'll come out and speak, and then we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we're all looking forward, and as we get more information on it, we'll definitely put it out there for all of you fellow shippers.
Thank you.
And with that, round of applause for Don. Thank you, Don. Picking up where I left off, I have to have my inevitable little guide here. There you go. Uh-oh. Yes, Margaret's going to play us another song, and unfortunately I don't have my, unless I put it in the book here. 141. Okay.
I see abundance everywhere, God's rich supply beyond compare. 'Tis ours to use and to enjoy, His gift to us without alloy. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to me. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase, and we are grateful voices raised to Thee, O God, in hymns of praise. I pray that I may ever be in sweet communion, Lord, with Thee, upheld, protected by Thy hand, secure in Thy dear care I stand. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to me. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase, and we are grateful voices raised to Thee, O God, in hymns and praise. There is no lack, all bountiful, his love provides. How beautiful to know God guides us on our way, sustains and blesses us each day. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to me. God sends his children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase, and we are grateful voices raised to thee, O God, in hymns of praise.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for all of your beautiful playing for us throughout our time here. Okay, now we will have our celebration of abundance. And with that, we will put over our heart our offering and say, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous. Thank you, Jerry, for taking the collection. Well, we have no children today. They're still on summer break. Yeah, well, got to grab that summer while it's still acting like summer. And now we have our own Bill Clark coming up to give us his thoughts on the way, the day, the week.
Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me okay?
Yes.
The topic today is appreciate the climb. Live your life each day as you would climb a mountain. An occasional glance towards the summit keeps the goal in mind, but many beautiful scenes are to be observed from each new vantage point. Climb slowly, steadily, enjoying each passing moment, and the view from the summit will serve as a fitting climax for your journey. That's from Harold B. Melchar. How sad it would be if we tracked up a mountain with a constant stream of complaints flowing from our mouths. You could change, instead of mountains, you could say, how about if we just lived our life with a constant flow of complaints coming out of our mouth? By the time we got to the top, we would have worn ourselves out with grumbling, dampening the spirits of our companions. Our attitude during the journey sets the stage for our feelings during life's high points. The journey is so beautiful, we must be careful not to miss all that it has to offer. The walkaway is, I will traverse life's mountainsides with joy. When I succeed in reaching each summit, I will be even happier. I think it goes to that song that we sing occasionally, is that your attitude paves the way. So let's all have a great positive attitude this week. God bless. Go Broncos.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, go Broncos. That's the state I'm from. So, do we have any further announcements? None? Okay. And so we will have.
Are we having a board meeting today, Kate?
We could have a little board discussion.
Board discussion?
With board. We promise we won't get bored. If we do, we'll just.
Probably not this month. We'll plan for next month.
Okay, that would work too, Jerry. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, so we're going to gather up here.
I think that the vice president had vice president have a different idea for the board meeting? No way?
Does the vice president have a different idea for the board meeting?
No.
You don't? Okay. I was just repeating that, it's
Thank
just
you.
relaying.
Yeah, we could just have a board comment.
Well, we don't really have anything we need to discuss.
Okay.
The fall event. I understand.
Yes.
We're moving on, so what's the point?
Okay, so are we not gonna have one?
No, we're not. We're moving on, what we're-
Holiday event?
Yeah, okay. I don't have anything.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
We'll have to just throw it out there and see what happens.
Somebody has something.
Are we still filming this?
Yeah?
It's me.
Well, we might have to edit that out.
Oh.